بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Page 117. Today's jurisprudential maxim is a new one, which is entitled الحدود تدرأ بالشبهات. الحدود, which is the punishment, basically, the penal code, the capital punishments. These are prevented with the slightest doubts. Once we have a doubt, then we should stop and halt the execution of these punishments. And this is تدرأ prevented from درأ that's the roots. درأ يدرأ تدرأ. So if we come to realize that this crime, whether it is murder, whether it is fornication, let's say, whether it is theft, has been Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, has been done by mistake, error, mistake, misunderstanding. Either the mistake is in the hukm or mawdu'. Hukm or mawdu'. What is the mistake of the hukm? Someone is drinking a liquid. He doesn't know that this is alcohol. This is mawdu'. This is the subject. He doesn't know about the subject. So he doesn't know the subject. He doesn't know that this is wine. Someone gave him a glass of drink and he drank that. Not knowing that this is haram. Knowing the drink, but he does not know that this drink is haram. So he knows the drink. He knows alcohol is forbidden. But this particular cup or glass, the liquid in it, he did not know about its hurma, prohibition. So this is shubha. This is called shubha. This is doubt. We are speaking about this maxim. Al-hududu tudra'u bil-shubuhat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So the punishments is prevented by doubts. So if that criminal act, 117, Abu, 117. Okay. So if he doesn't know about the subject, or he doesn't know about the hukm, he doesn't know whether this is, he doesn't know, sorry, I said about the hukm. This one is the subject he doesn't know. Or sometimes he does not know the substance in the cup. So he knows nothing about what in this case? Mawdu' or hukm?
He doesn't know about
the substance in the
mawdu'.
cup, in the cup, in the cup. He doesn't know.
Mawdu'.
So he doesn't know about the mawdu'. And he drank that. So he's not liable for punishment. It has to be prevented. Because he's ignorant, jahil, about the subject. Sometimes he's ignorant about the ruling. The ruling. Okay? Ruling, he doesn't know whether this is halal or haram. He's unaware. Someone who's unaware about this, he knows the name, the brand of the drink. He knows it, but he doesn't know it's haram. So he's not liable for punishment. Another example, alaykum as-salam, another example of the subject and the confusion about the subject when it comes to zina. Someone thinking that this lady is halal to him, or she thinks he's halal to her. Later on they found out that no, they are, let's say, siblings through rida'a, through breastfeeding, and they are not halal to each other. So he doesn't know about the subject. He doesn't know. Or sometimes he knows that she's his sister through feeding, through rida'a, through breastfeeding, but he doesn't know it's haram. He's unaware. And sometimes he doesn't know about both. So if the person does not know about the hukm, which is the ruling, or the subject itself, then he's not punished. Punishment here is prevented. Punishment here is prevented, and we give him the benefit of the doubt. Once there is doubt, shubha, the smallest shubha, if there is a smallest shubha. Someone is captured, we think that he is the perpetrator of this crime. Let's say it's killing, okay? And there are two witnesses. There are two witnesses. And those two witnesses are just witnesses. Okay? But we suspect either both of them. How does murder proven? How many witnesses we need? Two witnesses. Two just witnesses, at least. And they are just. They are religious. They don't lie. They are very honest. But they are mistaken. They thought that it was this man A, but in reality it was B, not A. They didn't see his face very clearly. Or maybe he made himself resemble B or resemble A, but he was B, he was not A. Are you with me? And they come and they stand in the court to the best of their knowledge. They are pious, they don't lie, they testify against him. But the judge is smart. He knows that those two people are, yes, too religious sometimes. And some people, they are religious, but they are naive. How oftentimes you see someone very, very religious, but his analysis is wrong. Not because he's lying. Not because he's lying. He doesn't lie, but he doesn't understand. He can't, depend on his judgment, on his opinion, on his analysis. Naive. So it's not only about the question of the honesty of the witness. No. The honesty and the mental integrity. Also important. Is his analysis right or wrong? This is called doubt. If we see two witnesses, they affirm that we saw this man murdering someone else. But then I'm a judge and I believe one of those witnesses is naive. Then this naivety of this witness is called shubha. Shubha. So I stop the execution. I say no execution. Because really I cannot fully depend on the witness of this person. He's honest, but he's naive. He's naive too. This is shubha. How many people were murdered and killed and executed without full evidence? How many? In many countries. And then they come to the family, oh, we are sorry, we killed your son. Take this amount of money. Please, we apologize. How do you apologize for someone that you killed and you made his children orphans. How do you apologize? This is a very important maxim that should be used in the court system in Muslim country. Al-hudud tudra'u bil-shubuhat. Another example of this. Sometimes people during certain times of their life, their reason, their mind, their rationality is compromised. Some people, let's say, during when he has a debt, he has a loan, he cannot pay his loan, he cannot pay his mortgage. Sometimes he lost his father, he lost his son. Sometimes he saw his house being burnt, his business comes down. So his rational ability, his brain sometimes becomes intoxicated through these emotional events, or sometimes through drinking something, eating something, consuming something. Here, this person, if he does something wrong, we don't rush to punish him, because his rational ability to understand was compromised. So also this is called shubha. Shubha. Now, if someone is drunk, completely drunk, and he does something wrong, how do you charge him? He's a drunk. And the person, especially if he's addicted to drinking, he's addicted. This is sickness. How do you charge this person? Do you charge him as a normal human being, or as a patient, as someone who suffers, as someone? Yes, it was with his choice that he became drunk, but then ultimately he lost control. So when he killed someone, he was not with his full intellectual potential or rational potential. Or when he did something, he wasn't. So do you charge him as a murderer? This is shubha. You have to be very careful. Another example. Someone went into a store and he picked something and then he walked away. And then they caught him. They say you are a thief. Do you charge him with theft? Or do you look at his situation? Maybe he thought, sometimes we think that we paid, but we have not paid. And sometimes you pay double. It happened. Some bills you pay them twice. Or sometimes you don't pay the bill. Sometimes you forget your credit card at the shop and you walk out. So we don't rush to the people and say, hey, I caught a thief here. No. We have to understand if he's with full mental health and he's fully aware of what he's doing and he's doing that on purpose, then he's a criminal. But if any of one of these things is missing, he's not in his full mental capability, something is bugging him, he has a problem, he has to rush, he has to go, he has to come, there is a tragedy, there is a problem, there is, something. Here, we give him the benefit of the doubt, shubuhat, al-hududu, and this is one of the most beautiful and equitable laws in Islam. Al-hududu tudra'u bil-shubuhat. We try to save people's lives and dignity, not just life, and dignity. We have to see the circumstances before we charge them with theft, with murder, with rape, with fornication, with this, with that. We have to study the entire circumstances. Because with the smallest shubha, doubt, we have to put a halt on the execution of the punishment. Another example is, you found it, huh? Yeah.
Thank you.
Another example is we see a man with a woman and we think that they are strangers. And the man is caught, let's say, with her in the room, let's say. If the man says, this is my mahram, this is my wife, we don't ask him about evidence. We don't tell him, go and bring a paper. You know, in some countries, you have to show your citizenship. Not in America. I've seen it. You go to a hotel to check in, bring me your citizenship. How do I carry my citizenship? Always I carry it with. And so I'm saying, this is my wife. What do you want from me? Your job is not to investigate. This is not your job to. Someone is saying, this is my wife, or the wife saying, this is my husband. So here, ويسقط الادعاء بالزوجية ويسقط الحد بادعاء الزوجية. يسقط الحد. If they caught someone thinking that he fornicates, they don't execute the punishment if he says, this is my wife. And he doesn't require to bring evidence. He doesn't require, he's not required. ولا يكلف المدعى, the defendant is not asked بينة ولا يمينا. Neither he needs to bring witnesses, nor he need to take an oath to say, this is my wife. That's it. If he says, leave him alone. This is the Islamic system of justice. But in many countries, they trample upon that. They trample upon this system. They trample. And the reason why this is happening is to protect people's dignity and reputation and life, not to disturb people's life. Not to disturb people's life. So what is the madrak for this? The madrak, there are 4 or 5 proofs or madarik for this. Number 1 is hadith. And there are several hadiths. Hadith of the Prophet, hadith of the Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, and hadith of al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. The hadith of the Prophet is accepted in both traditions. This is exactly the wording of the hadith of the Prophet. Al-hududu tudra'u bish-shubuhat. This is the wording of the hadith. The hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the hadith of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam is في امرأة تزوجت ولها زوج فقال ترجم المرأة. A lady who knows she's married to someone, and despite being still married to that person, she goes and she remarries someone else. In this case, only that woman is liable for punishment, not the one who married her. The one who married her, we should assume that he doesn't know anything about her. But she knows. So we punish only the one who we certain that he knows. Not the one who we speculate that he does not know. Even if it is speculation, we set that person free. So this is the hadith of the Prophet. This is the hadith of the Prophet. Idra'ul hududa. The Prophet says, Idra'u al-hududa bish-shubuhat. Idra'u. Prevent the punishments when there are doubts, instances of doubt. Once you see there is a doubt there, there is a smallest red flag, stop it immediately. Don't, because this is the life of the people. Lives. How can you bring it back? Or the honor. The honor in case of fornication, in case of this and that, or theft. It's the honor, the dignity, the reputation. You can't recover it again. So you have to prevent it unless you are certain 100%. There is no doubts, everything is clear, then you may execute. The other proof of that is al-musahala. What is musahala? Al-musahala. This is the other proof. So what was the first proof, my friends? Hadith. The second is musahala. Musahala is what? Comes from what? From tasheel. Ahsant. From tasheel. And tasheel means what? Make people's life easy. يريد الله بكم اليسر. مساهلة. Make people's life easy.
Is
This is a nice.
What's the source of it? What's the source of it?
تسهيل. We said تسهيل.
I mean, where
تسهيل إنكار. Don't make it difficult. The opposite of it is to make it difficult. تسهيل and تصعيب. تصعيب is to make it difficult and تسهيل is to make it easy. Opposite to what is happening in Muslim countries, alhamdulillah. They always do تصعيب. مصاعبة, not مساهلة. Always. You go to an office, bring me this bill, bring me that paper, bring me letter of recommendation, bring this, bring that. No, we can't do it. The wazir has to sign, the prime minister has to, always. Whereas in some countries, let's say you stand and you say, I'm telling you. Halas, they take. And this is how they encourage people to tell the truth. Because when you do musa'aba, when you make it difficult, they try to find other ways. And they try to cheat, they try to lie. You teach them to lie. You encourage them to lie. You push them, you force them to lie. But if someone comes to you and you accept him without, don't bring me witness, I accept what you say. You encourage him next time when he goes somewhere else to speak the truth. He says, see here, they didn't need anything from me. Why should I lie? We are creating a culture. Islam tried to create a culture of tasheel, but the Muslims are the opposite. Always suspicious. Islam says no one is suspicious unless you have a concrete reason. A concrete reason. Don't treat people with suspicion. But they do exactly the opposite. You are a suspect, you are suspicious unless you prove to me you are right. And therefore, alhamdulillah, we have no ladies in the class tonight. Therefore, Sahib al-Jawahir, I'm going to say something funny. Sahib al-Jawahir is Muhammad Hassan al-Najafi. This is Ayatollah Muhammad Hassan al-Najafi. He died 1244 Hijri. Over almost 200 years ago. He died, or 1266, sorry, 66. His book is Jawahirul Kalam, one of the most important fiqhi book in the Shia tradition, in the Imami tradition. Jawahirul Kalam fi Sharh Shara'i al-Islam. Jawahir al-Kalam fi Sharh Shara'i al-Islam. Who's the author of Shara'i al-Islam? You studied that. Muhaqqiq al-Hilli. Al-Muhaqqiq al-Hilli. So Muhammad Hassan al-Najafi, he's explaining the book of Shara'i. Shara'i lived 700 years ago. This man lived 200 years ago. So half a century after this book was written, Shara'i al-Islam, he came to elucidate the book and explain it. He says, لا يثبت الحد بشهادة النساء. Had is not proven, the punishment is not proven with the witnessing of women. Why? He says we take it from this maxim, from this musahala, the principle of musahala. We use the principle of musahala, make people's life easy, okay? And therefore, don't accept women's testimony because they might be emotional. Sometimes they become emotional against, someone else. They conspire. Of course, that thing could happen to men too nowadays. But he believes women are they have more tendency to be emotional, even if they are religious. More tendency. Or to misjudge sometimes, or to rush to judgment. To rush to judgment before verifying. Before verifying, they believe, this is not my opinion, they believe that if there are 50 men and 50 women, and someone comes with a news, whether good or bad, and he throws that, the experiment says that women, they tend to believe faster and react faster. Now, whether this is scientific or not, this survey, or where it was taken in a village in Afghanistan or in New York City, we really don't know. But they say it has to do with the nature of, So he believes that from this, of course, it has evidence in the Quran too. Yeah.
Actually, they've done jury studies based on sexes, and there's a big difference between how women vote on the same evidence and men vote. So
it agrees with this, his opinion?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. He will be happy to hear that. Especially when it comes to hudud. Sometimes women, they witness about something else. But when it comes to punishment, capital punishment, no, they don't accept that. They say, we need concrete evidence. Why? Because there is a possibility that she was on her period, she was, overreacting, she was very emotional that day. So we better not to take her testimony. And then the other one, tasalum. What is tasalum? So this is musahala, and we have at-tasalum, which is the agreement of all the fuqaha. They accept that with any doubt, in that case, tudra, the punishment is immediately prevented. If there is any doubt, slightest doubt, a judge can find, then that punishment is not executed. It's being put on hold. They don't do it with any sort of doubt. And they mention as an example of that, especially theft. Haddu as-sariqa. Haddu as-sariqa, they give an example that, we have to go through detailed investigation to find out that this man really did it with purpose, and he had no need, and he was with full, paying full attention to this, and he was not under any sort of any pressure, and his brain was working properly. So this is very difficult to prove. This is really very difficult.
So can musahala be used since it's a principle, can it be used in any assessment or only in this?
It is a general, general principle, because the Prophet ﷺ says, بُعِثْتُ بِالْحَنِيفِيَّةِ with the religion, السَّمْحَةِ, السَّمِحَةِ, a tolerant faith, tolerant religion, a tolerant. And therefore, it tries to facilitate life and makes it easy. In particular, this principle, the hudud. When it comes to hudud, we have to be extra careful, because this incurs a loss of life and dignity. In case of fornication, in case of theft, in case of murder, in case of rape, in case of, so it is used, in particular, musahala is used in this more than any other area. Other areas you can recover. There is some recovery here and there. You can offset the loss. But how do you offset it here? Yes?
And what happens to the people that don't use the doubt? And let's say they make a verdict and punish someone.
And they did do it?
And
It's done?
Yeah, they punished them, but they didn't really do it. So they don't investigate enough. So
They are responsible. They are responsible. It's a big responsibility on them.
So they can get punished?
They can get punished if they don't follow the rules. If a judge does that, if he's a judge, we are speaking, this is mostly about judiciary system in the courts. Yes, if he does that, it means he's incompetent. Not only him, the one who appoints him to. Who appointed you here, Okay, let's go to another maxim very quick. We have 10 minutes. The other maxim is الحق لمن سبق, the right for the one who comes first. الحق لمن سبق. الحق لمن سبق. The right for the one who comes first. And where do we use this? We use this in the mosques, places of worship, temples, clubs, markets. We don't have probably this here in America, but in the traditional Muslim countries, they fight over the space. Who stands immediately behind the imam? Who has the right to stand? This is a public place. This is وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ. It's not owned by someone. So sometimes they fight. People who pray 5 times a day with all the nawafil, they are ready to fight over a space. I'm telling you, I remember when I was a child, I used to see this. Now go to Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Nabi and you will see this. Sometimes they fight each other just to stand here and pray. So who has the right? The one who comes first. First come, first served. This is in America too. Not only in the masjid, but sometimes in the streets, people they make shift, they sell things. Okay? So who has the right to stand in this? This, let's say, a public place. It's not owned by the city or someone. Free. And let's say the city allows people to stand here and sell things. Vendors. So who puts his cart here? The one who comes first. You can't say, well, but I was thinking before you, or last week I was here first. This was last week, or this was yesterday, today. And the right lasts until the evening. We will read this. So when you come first, your right is for that day, not for the following day. Your right is last for that day until the night. After that, when you close down, the following day has new rules again. The one who comes first. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says in this regard, and this is the Madrak also, the Madrak, the proof, سوق المسلمين كمسجدهم. So the marketplace of the Muslims is like the mosque. It has the same ruling. So in the souk, the vendors, فمن سبق إلى مكان من السوق فهو أحق به إلى الليل. If you go first to a location in the market and you occupy it, then you have the right in that location until the layl, until the evening. No one can come and tell you, get out. You know, this is, no, you have the right. And the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, من سبق إلى ما لم يسبقه إليه مسلم فهو أحق به. The hadith of the Prophet. من سبق النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من سبق إلى ما لم يسبقه إليه مسلم ما لم يسبقه إليه مسلم فهو أحق به. فهو أحق به. I translate. Whoever goes first, man sabaqa, whoever goes first to a place where nobody, no Muslim before him went. So he was number one. He was the first. فهو, that particular person, أحق به. He has more right than others. أحق به. He has more right than others in that location. So this is the hadith. What else? What is another madrak, another proof for this maxim? For this maxim? What do you think? So we have hadith, okay? Hadith of Imam Ali, hadith of the Prophet, hadith of the Imam. What else? Exactly. Ahsant. The second madrak is as-siratul uqala'iyyah. As-siratul al-uqala'iyyah, which is the rational tradition, or the rational tradition. Again, dictates among the uqala that if someone goes to a location, then he has the right. And none says so far, no, he has no right. Especially if the place is not owned by anyone, open. And he goes first. Then he has the right. Until he relinquishes. He stands, he leaves. And this happens everywhere, publicly. In a hospital, you go, people are sitting in the waiting room. Someone is sitting here. Or in a bus, in a train. They all paid, And someone is sitting. No one has to tell him the right to get out. This is my place. No one.
So sometimes it's almost like it becomes traditional. Like in the mosque, you see the same people sitting in the same areas.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was reserved.
We studied this actually. We studied this last year. Even though they have a tradition of sitting here, but this was yesterday. Every day has a new ruling. you have the right to go there and sit there. Except one place, which is the Imam, because he's the Imam. Imam al-Ratib, if he is known as the Imam of this masjid, then he has to stand in that spot. Because he's the regular Imam. Because he's the regular Imam. Otherwise, if he's not the regular Imam, even he doesn't have the right to go and stand there. Because he's not the regular Imam. And this is what... Now, some people don't go this out of courtesy. Because they say, well, this is reserved for old men. I don't want to hurt them. So they go elsewhere. But they have the right to go. If they arrive first, they have the right to go. And others, when they come late, they don't have the right to complain. They don't have right to complain. Yeah. And many of those who stand in the first row and pray, they know nothing about fiqh. They know nothing about Islamic rulings. They know how to occupy the first seat, but they don't read these things. They don't read. And even if you read it to them, some of them they don't accept. What are you telling me? I've been here for 20 years, 30 years. So they don't accept these things. But these are, and this is also a good maxim to respect people. Whoever comes first, you go. And also, the fuqaha, they say, in the court, when we have a defendant and several plaintiffs standing, someone who took people's money, okay? And now he's in the court. And then there are many, he's the plaintiff and he's the defendant and they are the plaintiffs, many plaintiffs. Some of them are rich, some of them are poor, some of them are leader in the community, some of them are not leader, nobody knows him. Some of them are men, some of them are women. So who comes first? The judge should listen to whom and give him the right. Begins with whom?
Whoever complained first.
Exactly. Whoever stood in the line first. Even if the one who stood in the line is a child, behind him a man. Even if the one who stood in the line is a woman and behind her a man. First come, first served. This is also used in the court system, not just in the masjid. One more thing, because before we close down. Shaykh al-Ansari, rahmatullah alayh, one of the really iconic figure in the fiqh, he has a theory. He says if you go to the land that are mawat. Mawat, what does mawat means?
Dead? Come from dead?
It doesn't have an owner. The city, the government does not own them. There is no claim of ownership upon them. Like the desert, for instance. And then you go there and you put a fence around this piece of land, which has no owner. Sometimes the government says we own. See, in certain places the government owns. But in some countries and some laws, the government does not own. And if that person goes, he puts a fence, then he owns that place. Our author, he contends, he protests. He says, no. There is a difference between being there first and you have the right to use it, and between the right of owning it, the right of ownership. The right of ownership is not, we cannot get it from this maxim. Al-haqqu liman sabaq, the right for those who come first, is only to stay there, not to own. Not to own the location.
Use it.
To use it, but not to own it. However, there is another maxim that speaks about owning the land. We can't use this maxim to prove, but we can use other riwayat, that if you go to a place and then you put a fence and you do islah to it. Al-ardu lillah wa liman ammaraha. If you build, not just you put a fence, no. Not just you put a fence and you say, this is my land. You have to build. If you build, if you construct, it becomes yours. But not just if you go first. If you go first is not enough.
That's
If
the
you
other maxim.
Huh?
That's the other maxim.
There is another maxim, exactly. If you build that land, you do something, you construct, islah, ta'mir. You construct the land, then you own it. But if you just put a fence and leave it for 5 years, 10 years, some people they do that. He just occupies, he does nothing. He just wants to have more land. Then they have no right to claim it as ownership, as their own property. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على